Hey, church family, JT here. Happy Sunday. Hopefully, if you haven't already, you got to check out the service. But today's day 35, so we're in Psalm 35. So, with that, let's dive on in.
Okay, here we have the Psalm of David, Psalm 35. You notice the title there, it's Great is the Lord. And here, what you're going to see throughout this psalm is that David is experiencing a trial with enemies. And these are enemies that he once thought were his friends. And so you're going to see just so much emotion shown in this psalm. And so I'm going to read through the entire psalm. It's about 28 verses. And then I'm just going to have a little bit of chat. So it'll be a little bit longer of a verse, but a little less chat. So let's start in verse 1. Contend, O Lord, with those who contend with me. Fight against those who fight against me. Take hold of a shield and buckler, and rise for my help. Draw the spear and javelin against my pursuers. Say to my soul, I am your salvation. Let them be put to shame and dishonor who seek after my life. Let them be turned back and disappointed who devise evil against me. Let them be like chaff before the wind, with the angel of the Lord driving them away. Let their way be dark and slippery, with the angel of the Lord pursuing them. For without cause they hid their net for me. Without cause they dug a pit for my life. Let destruction come upon him when he does not know it. And let the net that he hid ensnare him. Let him fall into it, to his destruction. Then my soul will rejoice in the Lord, exalting in his salvation. All my bones shall say, O Lord, who is like you, delivering the poor from him who is too strong for him, the poor and needy from him who robs him. Malicious witnesses rise up. They ask me of things that I do not know. They repay me evil for good. My soul is bereft. But I, when they were sick, I wore sackcloth. I afflicted myself with fasting. I prayed with head bowed on my chest. I went about as though I grieved for my friend or my brother. As one who laments his mother, I bowed down in mourning. But in my stumbling, they rejoiced and gathered. They gathered together against me. Wretches whom I did not know tore at me without ceasing. Like profane mockers at a feast, they gnash at me with their teeth. How long, O Lord, will you look on? Rescue me from their destruction. My precious life from the lions. I will thank you in the great congregation. In the mighty throng I will praise you. Let not those rejoice over me who are wrongfully my foes. And let not those wink the eye who hate me without cause. For they do not speak peace. But against those who are quiet in the land they devise words of deceit. They open wide their mouths against me. They say, Aha, aha, our eyes have seen it. You have seen, O Lord, be not silent. O Lord, be not far from me. Awake and rouse yourself for my vindication, for my cause, my God and my Lord. Vindicate me, O Lord my God, according to your righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me. Let them not say in their hearts, Aha, our heart's desire. Let them not say, We have swallowed him up. Let them be put to shame and disappointed altogether, who rejoice in my calamity. Let them be clothed with shame and dishonor, who magnify themselves against me. Let those who delight in my righteousness shout for joy and be glad, and say evermore, Great is the Lord, who delights in the welfare of his servant. Then my tongue shall tell of your righteousness, and of your praise all the day long. Now let me just draw our attention to a couple quick things in this psalm that hopefully you saw as we were reading through. David obviously finds himself in this spot where these enemies of his were people that perhaps it seems, were once his friends. He says here in verse 13, he says, But I, when they were sick, I wore sackcloth. I afflicted myself with fasting. He says, I prayed with head bowed down on my chest. I went about as though I grieved for my friend or my brother. He goes on to say, As one who laments his mother, I bowed down in mourning. And so these were people that David seems to have cared for. But unfortunately, the feeling isn't reciprocated. He says here in verse 15, But at my stumbling, they rejoiced and gathered. They gathered together against me. And so because of this, these people that he once viewed as friends and maybe even family, they've now gathered against him. And so he asks God to act on his behalf. He says, You have seen, O Lord, be not silent, here in verse 22. In verse 23, he says, Awake and arouse yourself for my vindication. For my cause, my God and my Lord, vindicate me, O Lord, my God. And then he goes on, and we get down to the bottom. He says, Let those who delight in my righteousness shout for joy and be glad, and say evermore, Great is the Lord, who delights in the welfare of his servant. Then my tongue shall tell of your righteousness and of your praise all the day long. What I love about the Psalms is that we see the full range of emotion. We see that, hopefully none of us have experienced the type of betrayal that David's experienced, but we've all experienced trials in our life to varying degrees. And just like David, we know that we can go to God. Because of Jesus, we have full access to God the Father, and we can go and pour our hearts out before God. And so as we go into this week, let's remember that no matter the trial that we're experiencing, maybe you are sitting there experiencing a sense of betrayal like David. Whatever it may be, because of relationship with Jesus, you can go to God the Father and pour out your heart. And we know that the Lord is not silent, that he does hear us, and that he does act on our behalf.